So welcome back. Again, I want to tell you how much I appreciate the fact that you're tuning in again. Again, the rate of dropout is about 90% in a typical Tai Chi class. So if you're still here, that's awesome. Today, I'm not going to show a new move. I'm going to talk about a principle. And always remember that the important thing about Tai Chi is really the principles and that you move in accordance with those. It isn't just putting your arm out here or out here. It's about how you put your arm out here and the purpose for putting your arm out here. So today I want to talk about a fundamental issue, which is alignment. Tai Chi is all about alignment. That's what gives it its power. So if you're watching Western boxers and they're taking these big swings, they're creating momentum, right? They're creating momentum. Tai Chi doesn't rely on momentum. It doesn't rely on strength. It doesn't even rely on speed. It relies upon you being perfectly aligned with gravity, going down into your feet, and then making a connection. Now that connection can be with your hand, with your fist, with the foot. It can be with your nose. So it's about creating alignment if you're doing this as a martial art. And as a moving art, it's really about creating alignment specifically with gravity. So here we have a diagram. It's supposed to be a human being, just so you know, probably a male. So doesn't make any difference. So we're looking here at this center line through the body. And this is what we want to create. We want to create alignment between these 3 points and then another point on the feet, which the feet are important. We'll get to that at some point. And so those 4 points will come into perfect alignment with each other. And that's critical for Tai Chi. So you remember in earlier videos, I talked about feeling as though the head is lifted by a string going upward. The point we want to focus on there is called the Bai Hui point, sometimes spelled with an I, sometimes spelled without an I. And the Bai Hui point means essentially the meeting point of the 100 channels or meridians, the energy centers that meet here. Now, one of the things about speaking in the Chinese language or listening to things in the Chinese language, they have a lot of metaphors. So when they say the meeting point of the 100 channels, that means a bunch. It doesn't mean specifically 100. Like they have eggs that they make and will season for quite a while, and they call those 1,000-year-old eggs. They are not 1,000 years old. They're a matter of days old. So this is a very important point. Hence, it's given more importance by saying the 100 meridians meet here. And this is essentially where the human being connects to heaven, right? So we've got heaven, man, earth. And those are the 3 levels in Chinese medicine and in martial arts. So this should be pulled up, the head pulled up as from above. This point is called Hui Yin. This is the major yin point. This point is located between the rear of the vagina or testicles in a male and the anus. It's right in the center. In fact, in that spot, there's a soft spot. It's hard around it, but there's a specific spot that's called the $1 million point. We'll go into that in the future, but needless to say, since it's the $1 million point, again in Chinese, that means it's really, really important. Pay $1 million to discover that point. So that point should be directly in line. If you had a level that you could put on you, it would run in this direction. And in here, we have a point that's called the Wuji point. Wuji means absolutely nothing, or before zero. It's absolutely the point that is most critical for balance. Now, if you look here, this is a point called Ming Men, and that's between the vertebrae here on the back. And there's a point in front, so here's your navel. Here's a point called Qi Hai, which is Ren 6. Ren is the name of one of the energy channels, and it means the conception vessel. Conception vessel. So this area, and it's an area, is called the lower Dan Tian. There's a middle Dan Tian and an upper Dan Tian that we'll talk about later. So this lower Dan Tian is the point of focus. Now, to specifically find that, you can put your thumbs in your navel and then make a triangle. And where the index fingers come, that's generally considered the lower dantian, and it's at least a place that you want to put your attention, is that lower dantian, located right here about chi high. Now if we go through the body, from the navel to Ming Men, we run right through this point of Wuji. Now when I was training a lot, we would actually take people, have 2 people hold them up, have 2 other people hold a big wooden staff, and we would actually balance them. And this is literally the point where the body balances perfectly over that stick or staff. And so this is the critical alignment for the body. So when you're practicing, start at, again, not at the beginning, you know, it's going to take a lot of work to learn the moves and master them, but in your daily life, actually, start looking at moving from this, almost like your eyes are located here. And if you do that enough, it will be shocking because it will start to feel like your eyes are here. So when you turn your waist, you're always focused on this lower dantian. When you're stepping, when you're shifting, when you're turning, it is this lower dantian point that we want to have your attention on. Now this Hui Yin point is particularly important. There are 3 major extraordinary vessels that are formed right around the uterus in women, right around this area in men, that all come out to the Hui Yin point. The Ren, or conception vessel, then runs up the front of the body. The Du, or governing channel, runs up the rear of the body until they meet in the oral cavity. The Chong channel, which has many translations, the rushing channel, the penetrating vessel, the thoroughfare vessel, etc., that goes in several directions. But for our interest, we're going to talk about a channel that comes up through the spinal column, up into the center of the brain around the pituitary gland, and then there's a channel that comes more up the center. There's also one that comes a little bit up the front. And that channel, the Chong, C-H-O-N-G, is probably the most important for gynecology when we're treating gynecological disorders. So for now, just keep attention in here. Now one way to do this, so we have 1, 2, 3 points. If we divide this distance in half and this distance in half, then we have 5 points. And so as you're standing or sitting, you can put your attention here, then go to here, then go to here, and then back up to the midpoint between those. Then try to come over here to the midpoint here. Now at first this will seem impossible, but in very short order it will be pretty easy to start picking out those locations. And when you are able to do that and your sensitivity increases that much, then you'll be able to use the Wuji point and the lower dantian to your utmost success. So I want to thank you again. You've made it this far. Stick with us. We're going to do some more moves soon, and keep upright. Thank you.